This is CG Trader. I simply typed in Terminator. We're going to go to free. And right here we're going to use this example of this Terminator Skull. We'll go to Downloads. Here we are in the Download section. So we're going to download it as an OBJ, and we're going to get the textures right here. The reason I'm using this is because the textures are not associated with it. We have to put the textures on there, so that's why I want to do it this way. So download that, and we're going to download the textures. You can also do FBX, but in this case we'll just stick with the OBJ. So we'll open up our downloads folder. And so there's our OBJ file. So let's unzip our textures. So here's our textures. We don't need any of this. And we'll take our OBJ and put it in there, so everything will be centrally located. So now we got our textures and our OBJ file, so everything's easy to find. So let's go into Blender, go to File, Import, and we're importing I forgot what I downloaded. It was an OBJ. Go to Downloads, inside of our textures, and get the skull. Okay. Wow, it's huge. Let's pan out a little bit. Just press S, and let's scale this thing down a little bit. Alright, it's a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. So now, as you can see, it doesn't have a texture. So we can get rid of our camera, our light. Let's highlight the skull. Come down here to Material Properties, Base Color, Image Texture. Come over here to right here to Open. Go to your Downloads. Remember, we put everything in one folder. Go to your Textures, and you want to go with the first one. I'm not sure if it's the right one, but it's usually the first one. Let's click up here, and there you go. So now we got our texture on board. It's not bad. We're just using this as an example. Looks like a Terminator with dentures. Look at those teeth. Huh. So now we just want to highlight it. File, Export, DAE, create a new, let's go to our downloads, create a new folder, title it, go inside, we'll call it we'll just call it man, man.dae. I just checked these off. I'm not sure if it's necessary. Export. Now we have to think about what level we want to put this in. So we're going to go to Mods, Unpacked, and we'll put it in Downhill Endurance. Levels, Downhill Endurance, Art, Shapes. Let's bring open our Downloads folder. And there's our Terminator, and inside is our man DAE file that we made in Blender, and there's some material associated with it. And this everything goes in your Art Shapes folder. So let's take the Terminator, drag it over there and drop it. Make sure everything's inside correctly. It is. Launch BeamNG. Alright, so here we are inside Downhill Endurance. So let's bring open our asset browser. Downhill Endurance. You want to go inside your Art, Shapes, and right here is the Terminator folder. And if you open this up and you don't see all this here, just give the game a second, because it has to write this JSON file and create the DAE and put the material on it. So wait until you see all three of these here before you try to drag the DAE and move it over here. If you do, you're going to get the no materials associated with it. So, wow, it's pretty big. Thought I scaled it down in Blender. But you can see the material came out pretty good. Look at the size of the car compared to it. But I want to show you a couple things about this. Number one question was about the transparency here. You can fix that. You have to call it double-sided. And to do that, you make sure you're highlighted on the object and go to Windows and Materials. Open up your materials. Down here, actually I'm not sure which one of these it is. Advanced layers. Oh, double-sided, right there. So now when you look inside, it's one object. So that was one of the questions I had about how to make something that was transparent from the inside a solid object. Well, that would be open because it's the mouth area. There's no material here, that's why. So that was one thing. The second question was, let's go to our car. Let's bring that skull down a little bit, or the Terminator down a little bit. Let's go back to our car. As you can see, we went right through it. So highlight that. How do you make this a solid object was another question for the same person. Make sure your object is selected and come over here to your inspector. If it's not, just go to Window and choose Inspector and it will pop up. And then go to Visible Mesh and Visible Mesh, and then make sure you come over to Edit and choose Rebuild Collision, or you can press Control F7. Rebuild Collision, you'll see it up here. Give it a chance to refresh. Press F11, J. And there you go. Now you got a solid object. Let's go back to our vehicle, J, F11. Let's highlight this vehicle. And let's see if he's completely solid, because sometimes it may be solid in one spot and not solid in others, but I think this will be solid all the way around. Okay, that looks pretty good. Here's the moment of truth. Hey, he landed on there. So there you are, on top of the Terminator skull. Do you think it's possible I could do a donut up here? Let's see. Up. Let's try that again. Hang in there, hang in there. And there you go. That's how you make an object solid. I hope I answered your questions. You know what would look really cool is to put red laser beams, red lights and red laser beams coming out of his eyes. We can do that real quick. Press F11. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's reset that car. Let's get rid of that car. Come down here and go to there. Choose a spotlight. Put a spotlight right there. Let's highlight that spotlight. Snap 45. Give it 2 turns. Bring it up. We may not, I was going to make the light red, but we may not even need to make the light red, because the material on the eyeball is already red. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. There's 1. And there's 2. Now, to make the laser beams, we're going to use tubes. So we're going to come over to our asset browser. Open that up, and down here somewhere, I'm going to go look for it, and then I'll bring you back when I find it, because it's going to take me a while to find it. Okay, I found it now. It's right here in Shapes, Race, and Common, And you'll see there's like a test cylinder right here. Let's get down here closer to the ground. And I think it's the test cylinder here. And what is this one? That's the sphere. I think we can use either one of these. No, not that one. Yeah, this one. Okay. So what we're going to do is use that as a laser beam. So number 2, we've got the snap grid 45 already selected. So we're going to go, we want it facing this way. Let's make that really big. Whoops. I aimed it this way to keep the... Let's make it really long. Something like that. And let's just bring this up to his eyeball. Something like that. Looks good, and it's already the right size. Doesn't look like we have to change it. And we can make it a little bit. Make it 0.75 maybe. And 0.75. Okay. Change to color. I'm not sure if this is going to change it. Might. Yes, it does. So that's 1. That's only half of it. You know what? Let's make it green. I think green would look better. There you go. Green laser beam. Put the other one right there. F11. There you go. Shooting laser beams out of his eyes. Pretty cool. Anyways, I hope I answered your questions. Please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.